Picture an alternate version of Earth. Same planet, same animals, same humans, biologically. Except one thing never happened. Nobody ever figured out fire. No cooking, no warmth on cold nights, no light after sunset. Just darkness, raw food, and whatever your body alone could survive on. Would you even exist? Would anything like a modern human exist at all? Here's why that question is harder to answer than it sounds. Your body right now is not built like a chimpanzee's. You have smaller teeth, weaker jaw muscles, and a shorter digestive tract. Compared to other primates, your body looks almost underprepared to survive in the wild. There's a theory for why. Somewhere in our evolutionary past, humans appear to have outsourced part of digestion to something outside the body. Fire. Cooking breaks food down before it ever reaches your mouth. Heat softens fiber, unwinds proteins, and unlocks calories raw food simply won't release. A cooked potato hands your body dramatically more usable energy than the same potato eaten raw. And that extra energy had to go somewhere. One leading theory says it went straight to your brain. Brains are absurdly expensive tissue to run, burning up to 20% of your body's total energy despite being a small fraction of your body's total weight. Some researchers argue that without the extra calories cooking provided, evolution simply couldn't have afforded to build a brain this large. So in this fireless version of Earth, here's the chain reaction that might never happen. No cooking. Less usable energy from food. Smaller margin for an organ as expensive as a massive brain. Possibly a species that never crosses the cognitive threshold required for language, tools, or culture as we know it. But here's where it gets genuinely uncertain, and honestly, more interesting. Not every researcher agrees with this. Other scientists have directly tested the cooking hypothesis using mathematical models of caloric intake across hominin evolution, and found the math doesn't require fire at all to explain the brain growth we see in the fossil record. Some argue brain expansion happened on a timeline too early, or too steady, to be explained by fire alone. So we genuinely don't know if losing fire would have stopped the big brain from evolving. It might have. It might not have. What we can say more confidently is what fire did beyond cooking. Fire pushed back the night. Predators that ruled after dark suddenly had a reason to keep their distance from a flickering threat they couldn't fully understand. Groups that once had to hide or flee at sunset could instead sit together around a shared source of warmth and light. And that detail might matter just as much as the brain question. Sitting around a fire is fundamentally a social activity. Some anthropologists argue this nightly gathering created something agriculture and hunting never did. A reliable block of unstructured time, every single day, for talking, storytelling, and transmitting knowledge. In a world without fire, that nightly window might never open. No fireside stories. No long evenings spent passing down survival knowledge through language. Possibly, a much slower path toward the complex culture and cooperation that define human societies today. Without fire, you're not just looking at a colder, hungrier version of humanity. You might be looking at a species stuck in a permanent evolutionary bottleneck. Smaller brains, shorter lifespans, and far less complex social structures, simply because the energy and the time required to build something more never became available. Or, alternative path, maybe evolution would have found a different shortcut entirely. A different food source. A different social structure. There's no certainty that fire was the only road that could have led somewhere similar. What is certain is this. Of every species walking this planet, only one of them ever managed to capture and control something as dangerous and unpredictable as open flame, and then turn it into food, light, warmth, and eventually, civilization itself. So tonight, when you flip on a stove or strike a match without thinking twice, you're holding the exact tool that may have built the brain you're using to read this sentence.